2 dates, that's roughly 50 calories. A handful of sugar, some fiber, a few minerals. At least that's how most people think about it. But when researchers started looking closely at what happens when people eat just 2 dates a day, consistently, over 30 days, the findings didn't match that simple story. Changes in cholesterol, changes in inflammation markers, and in some studies, measurable shifts in how well the gut functions. This isn't a superfood claim. Dates aren't magic, but they are one of the most nutritionally dense whole foods you can eat, and the way their nutrients interact with your body, particularly over time, is worth understanding clearly. So let's go through what actually happens, system by system, week by week. Within the first few days, the most immediate change is happening in your digestive tract. 2 medjool dates contain about 3.2 grams of dietary fiber. That's roughly 11 to 12% of your daily fiber target in just 2 small fruits. But it's not just the amount, it's the type of fiber that matters. Dates contain both soluble and insoluble fiber. The insoluble fiber adds bulk to stool and speeds transit time through the colon. If you've been dealing with sluggish digestion, you'll often notice improvement within the first week. But the soluble fiber does something more interesting. Soluble fiber ferments in the large intestine. Beneficial bacteria, specifically species like Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium, feed on that fiber and produce short-chain fatty acids as a byproduct. These fatty acids, particularly one called butyrate, are the primary fuel source for the cells lining your colon. A 2015 study in the British Journal of Nutrition found meaningful increases in beneficial bacterial populations and decreases in harmful bacteria within just a few weeks of regular date consumption. Your gut microbiome doesn't transform overnight, but the direction of change starts early. By the end of that first week, most people also notice softer, more regular bowel movements. Not dramatic, just more consistent. Now let's talk about blood sugar, because this is where most people have the wrong idea. Dates taste very sweet. Their sugar content is high, so the automatic assumption is that they spike your blood sugar fast. That assumption isn't accurate. Dates have a glycemic index of roughly 42 to 55, depending on the variety and ripeness. That puts them in the low to medium range, lower than white rice, lower than most breakfast cereals, and comparable to whole grain bread. The reason is fiber. The fiber in dates slows digestion significantly. Instead of glucose rushing into your bloodstream at once, it enters gradually. Your pancreas releases insulin in a more measured response. Blood sugar rises modestly and falls back steadily rather than spiking and crashing. A study conducted at Sultan Qaboos University tested blood glucose responses in both diabetic and non-diabetic subjects who consumed dates. In both groups, dates produced a low glycemic response despite their sweetness. The researchers concluded they could be safely consumed even by people managing blood sugar in appropriate amounts. Over 30 days, there's another layer to this. The fiber feeds gut bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, and those fatty acids improve insulin sensitivity in the gut wall. Your cells start responding more efficiently to insulin signals. It's a gradual process, not something you'll feel acutely, but it matters for long-term metabolic health. And if you're replacing a high-sugar processed snack with 2 dates, the practical difference in your blood sugar pattern over a month is significant. By week 2, changes are also accumulating in your cardiovascular system. Dates contain no cholesterol and are very low in saturated fat. But more importantly, the soluble fiber in dates binds to bile acids in your digestive tract. Bile acids are made from cholesterol. When they bind to fiber and get excreted rather than reabsorbed, your liver pulls cholesterol from the bloodstream to make more. The result over time is lower LDL cholesterol. Dates also contain polyphenols, flavonoids, and phenolic acids that reduce oxidative modification of LDL cholesterol. Oxidized LDL is the version that sticks to arterial walls and contributes to plaque formation. Keeping LDL in its unoxidized form matters more than most people realize. And then there's potassium. 2 dates give you roughly 330 milligrams of potassium and around 54 milligrams of magnesium. Potassium helps your kidneys excrete excess sodium, which directly affects blood pressure. Magnesium helps relax the smooth muscle inside arterial walls, which lowers resistance and reduces pressure. You're getting these minerals through whole food, no supplementation required. The cardiovascular effects of dates over 30 days aren't dramatic, But the trajectory matters. You're consistently reducing oxidative stress, improving cholesterol quality, and supporting healthy blood pressure with every serving. Your energy and brain function also shift during this period, and there's a clear physiological reason for it. The natural sugars in dates, glucose and fructose, are rapidly available to cells once they leave the digestive tract. Combined with the controlled release from fiber, dates provide a steady fuel input rather than a short burst. Your brain, which runs almost exclusively on glucose, benefits from this. Stable blood glucose across the day correlates with more consistent focus and fewer energy crashes in the afternoon. Dates also contain vitamin B6, which is involved in neurotransmitter production. Serotonin, dopamine, and GABA are all synthesized through pathways that require B6 as a cofactor. You're not getting pharmacological doses from 2 dates, but combined with other dietary sources, the contribution is real. There's also tryptophan in dates, an essential amino acid your body can't produce on its own. Tryptophan is a direct precursor to serotonin. And serotonin, in turn, is converted to melatonin in the brain when light drops at night. Some people report improved sleep quality after several weeks of regular date consumption. The mechanism is plausible and research-supported, though the effect varies between individuals. It's worth noting, not overstating. Now let's talk about inflammation, because this is where the long-term protection really builds. Chronic low-grade inflammation is involved in almost every major chronic disease: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, Alzheimer's. It often develops silently over years without obvious symptoms. Dates contain a meaningful range of antioxidants: beta-carotene, lutein and zeaxanthin, which also protect the eyes, flavonoids including quercetin and kaempferol, and phenolic acids with well-studied anti-inflammatory effects. In research published in the Journal of Nutrition Science and Vitaminology, participants who consumed dates daily for several weeks showed reductions in C-reactive protein, a key marker of systemic inflammation. The changes were modest. This isn't a medication, but reducing baseline inflammation consistently over months and years has compounding protective effects that are hard to overstate. Oxidative stress, the imbalance between free radicals and your body's ability to neutralize them, damages DNA, proteins, and cell membranes over time. The antioxidant activity in dates helps counter some of that damage. Every day you consume them, you're adding to that protective effect. There's also a benefit most people overlook entirely: bone health. 2 dates contain small but meaningful amounts of calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, and copper. Over 30 days, and particularly over months and years, these minerals contribute to bone mineral density. Magnesium is especially important here. Most people understand that calcium builds bone, but magnesium is required to convert vitamin D into its active form. Without active vitamin D, calcium absorption is significantly reduced. If your magnesium is low, your bones can't fully use the calcium you consume. Dates also contain boron, a trace mineral that reduces the urinary excretion of calcium and magnesium and supports overall bone metabolism. It's not a nutrient most people think about, but it's relevant, especially as we age. So what does all of this actually look like across 30 days? In the first week, digestion becomes more regular. Bowel movements are easier and more consistent. This is the most commonly reported change, and it typically starts within 3 to 5 days. In the second week, energy levels feel steadier throughout the day. Fewer afternoon crashes. This reflects more stable blood glucose from swapping refined sugar snacks for dates. In the third week, some people notice improved sleep, falling asleep more easily or waking feeling more rested. This aligns with the tryptophan and melatonin pathway. Not everyone experiences this, but it's a real possibility. In the fourth week, the changes that matter most, in cholesterol, inflammation, insulin sensitivity, and gut microbiome composition, are happening at a cellular level. You won't feel them directly, but they are accumulating, and that matters more than most visible changes. A few practical things to keep in mind. 2 dates is the right amount to start with. More isn't necessarily better. Dates are calorie-dense, and eating 5 or 6 daily adds up quickly. 2 gives you the nutritional benefit without adding meaningfully to your caloric load. If you're managing diabetes, speak with your doctor before making changes. Individual blood sugar responses to carbohydrate vary, and monitoring is appropriate when introducing new foods. Choose medjool or Deglet Nor varieties when possible. Avoid dates coated in added sugar or syrup. Check the label. And consistency matters far more than quantity here. 2 dates every single day produces a different outcome than 5 dates on some days and none on others. The gut, cholesterol, and inflammation benefits are dose-response relationships that build with regularity. Dates have been consumed for over 6,000 years across the Middle East and North Africa. They're not a trend. The research on them is not hype. It's genuine and replicable. 2 dates a day is a small habit, but nutritionally it covers ground that's hard to replicate with almost any other single food. Fiber, potassium, magnesium, antioxidants, natural slow-release energy, and gut-supporting compounds, all together in one small package. The changes over 30 days are real. Some you'll notice directly. Most are happening quietly, inside your cells, in your arteries, in your gut lining, doing protective work long before any disease would have a chance to form. That's the best kind of medicine. The kind that works before you need it. And there you have it. Take this knowledge and take control of your health. Thank you for watching.